18, 20 months ago, a call came into our office, and I believe it was Brenda Green, our Director of Development, that took that call. It was a gentleman who was shared with us that he had been a child at Christ Home many years earlier, and he was asking if he could come and reconnect with Christ Home, and specifically reconnect to our Paradise campus in Lancaster County to just kind of sort some things out in his heart and life. And we, of course, said yes to that, and that has developed a connection and a friendship that we've developed now over the last year and a half or so. Back in January, we had him come and speak here in this building to all of the kids and residents on this campus. And you could hear a pin drop. It was amazing. Those kids were glued to hear his story. We've asked him to come tonight and share his story with all of you of what God has been doing through his life. Would you please give a very warm welcome to Mr. Phil Long.
The video is true. It's true. Hopefully you hear that in my story. A couple things before I get started. I like to walk. I'll try and stay here. I really like to walk when I talk. Next time, if I ever come back, I want a walking mic, please. I'm going to get choked up probably 5, 10 times. It's fine. I'm fine. When you've bottled up emotion for 50 years, it just sometimes comes out. And for this to be here, I kind of go deep into my soul, and I want to share that. So please bear with me. Secondly, I'm going to talk about myself a little bit in ways I'd rather not, some success I've had. It's part of the story I want to share here. So with that, my family and friends at the table wanted me to work some words into my speech. It's not really a speech, it's more of a story. There's nothing written but these 5 words. I want to get them out of the way now, because I'm never going to weave them in. First one was chicken nuggets, little bro. So I had chicken nuggets when I was speaking in there in January. So I got that one in. Second was pogo stick. I was not on a pogo stick eating chicken nuggets when I was speaking in there. The third one was forgiveness. My father asked for that word. Not sure why he asked for it. I hope it's because he doesn't want me to forgive him, because there's nothing to forgive. And I hope if he feels the need for forgiveness, he can forgive himself. Dad, I love you. There's nothing to forgive for me. My sister gave perfection. There was only one perfection that ever was. And hopefully in the next 10, 15 minutes, that's what we're going to be talking about. So with that, I want to walk. I can't walk. I'll stand here. 1903. That's a long time. 1963. Mary and Phil got married. Mary's my mother, Phil's my dad. My dad was just turned 19, my mom was 18. My mom's parents had both died the year before, separately, tragically. My father was adopted. They got married. They're, I don't mean to. Is this on? I don't mean to be facetious, but there's a God. Holy cow. That's serious, that's not facetious. This is going to be much better now. Sip of water, and away we go. So, I got married in 1963, as I said. 18, 19. My mother's parents dead. My father was adopted. They didn't have a chance, honestly. That marriage was almost certainly not going to last for 50 years. 1967, I was born in Alabama. My dad was in the Army. 1968, my brother Jay was born in Alaska. Army went from Alabama to Alaska. And then in 1970, Dad, was it 1970 Scott was born? My brother Scott was born. 71, Scotty was born. 3 kids, life falling apart. Doesn't really matter why, right? It happens. I think about my memories. I remember a lot. So it's 1974, so 1903. 1963, 71 years later after this place was formed. It's fallen apart. The story I'm told, I don't think it's untrue, but we remember things over time differently. We were living on some lady's porch, didn't have an apartment. Somebody came by and gave my mother the word, go check out that place called Christ's Home. We ended up in paradise because that's the only way my two brothers and I could stay together. That's the story we're told. I believe it. The most difficult's the right word. One of the most difficult days of my life, and certainly the most impactful day of my life, was the day I was dropped off at Christ's Home. My memory of that day was holding my mother's leg and begging her not to leave. That's what I remember, is begging her not to leave. She left. It had to be one of the hardest days in her life. I'm sure for my father, it was one of the hardest days in his life. I mean, our family was sealed that day with pain and suffering. I think I've thought of that day consciously or subconsciously every day of my life. Like, I didn't sit around saying, oh my gosh, I got dropped off at Christ's Home when I was 6 years old, what have you, but I know it's been there, it's a part of me. When I met my wife, Susan, our first date, I told her I was dropped off at Christ's Home. So it was seared in me. Having said that, the 15 months I was here with my brothers, it was good. It was not bad. The video talked about building resilience. It was the safest, most stable environment I had from the time I can remember until I left for the military. It did exactly that. We left. My dad's a good man. My mom's a good woman. I think nobody got over the pain of what happened. It was chaotic and unpleasant, if I'm being honest, emotionally growing up for 18 years. It is what it is. I will say, one thing, I did forget one part, sorry. When I was dropped off, looking back now, I froze emotionally. Like, I just kind of shut down. Like, I just boxed myself in. Spent my time at Christ's Home when it was time to go. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave. I remember being picked up and I was hiding in a closet with our Dalmatian Heidi. Did not want to leave. Because it was a stable home. Left. Again, my parents are good people. I love them both. I have no ill will remaining. I certainly struggled for a while. We'll talk about that. This is going longer than 10 minutes I told you guys it would be. I'm sorry about that. This is a little longer than I thought. So we get through high school. I joined the military, Air Force. I needed, I think, just to get away. Went to Plattsburgh Air Force Base, went to Hahn Air Base, Germany. Got married, not to my wife. That's part of the story. Come back. I was a terrible high school student. Go to community college, ended up doing pretty well. Went to Temple University, ended up graduating first in my class. Wow, that got loud. First in my class from Temple, and ended up going to Harvard Law School. So, didn't see any of that coming. When I say it, I still can't believe it, because it doesn't feel like me. But those things happened. I clerked for a judge for 2 years. I was getting divorced. And sorry, Chucky, this part of the story you don't know. He's finding out today that in sometime in the late 90s I was diagnosed with leukemia. So, I have leukemia. I'm going to be out of a job in a year. I'm getting divorced. And I got counseling to help me process things, right? And I remember saying to Emily, who was the psychologist I was talking to, I've got no job, I've got cancer, who's going to want me? 6 months later, I met Susan. So, sorry. We have a son, Philip. We have a beautiful daughter, Aubrey, sitting there. We have Chuck. I have a career. Everything's fine. No complaints. I mean, my life is good. But I'm not happy. Like, I'm carrying around anger and resentment. I'm not close to God. I mean, I did not get close to God while I was here. Honestly, I rejected God. I was angry. I know I gave my parents indifference. I know I was just closed off and angry and resentful. So I also knew I wanted to be better. Something inside of me told me I wanted to be better. I do a lot of personal work, journaling, writing, trying to figure stuff out. I was really trying to figure my stuff out. And this is like 15 years. John, it was 12 months ago, not. So this was literally May 7th of last year. I was kind of at the end of what I could do. Like I knew all there was to know about my psychology. I have thousands of pages of journals trying to figure myself out and how can I be better and how can I be the person I think I'm supposed to be. I couldn't find that person. I send Brenda Green an email, May 7th. May 8th, Brenda responds, and it's basically, it's what John said. I'm trying to figure some stuff out. I would like to visit Paradise Christ Home. So 49 years after I was here, right, so 2023, I was only here from 1974 to 1975. This place has been here since 1903. 49 years after that, in need, I reach out. Brenda responds immediately, could not have been more welcoming. Just because it was a weird email for me to send. I was unsure. Had she been cold or not responded, I might have let it go. But she didn't. She responded right away. I went to Paradise, met with Dave Colbert. Wonderful man. What a good guy. And him and I think it was Anthony, one of the house parents. We walked around for 2 hours. And I went there because I wanted to go back to the spot where I was dropped off. I was 100% convinced that I could go to that spot and I would figure out what I needed to figure out and that my life would go forward. We walked around the whole place. I couldn't find the spot. I thought it was here. We never found the spot. That's not why I was back there, though. Right? God was trying to get me back here. So I want to retell the story, right? Because everything I told you, the things I did, the way my life was, 100%, I believe they were me doing it. So I'm being dropped off. This was the worst day of my life. I'm dropped off in a place called Christ Home. So the thing I think about every single day in my bitterness, my angriness, my confusion, my sadness, I have to say his name. It's Christ. Christ Home. Every time, this is what pops up every time. So even though I was far from him, he was here every single second of every single day, kind of waiting for me to figure it out. Which, by the way, I figured that out about 4 hours ago. I'm not kidding. As I'm working through this, like, holy cow, this is unbelievable. So every day I said his name, not understanding. He was waiting for me. Right? He's there. He's waiting. Why did I go in the Air Force? I think I was guided there. I needed to get away. I needed to get some confidence. I needed to grow. Yes, I worked hard. I did really well in school. I was very successful. I didn't make me that way. I did the work, sure. Whatever gifts I have, they didn't come from me. They came from God. Lowest point in my adult life, cancer, no job, divorce. Susan shows up. That's got to work. And I can tell you, the heart and soul of our family is my wife. Without question. I was kind of angry and grumpy and not emotional. She was the heart and soul. She was love in our family. I didn't know what love is. I didn't understand what love was. She helped me see it. My kids helped me see it. I'm looking at my buddy Kevin here. He's here for a lot of reasons. He's been my best friend since I was 8 years old, 9 years old. But one of the things he reminded me, and he doesn't know this, people are learning stuff for the first time here that have known me my whole life. He would come in and tell my family how much he loved them. I'm like, man, he's so open with that. I can't do that. There's got to be something inside of me I can get out that can do that. So, examples everywhere, opportunities everywhere. My kids. Again, I didn't know what love was. Our family did not grow up. There was pain. It was not close to affection. Again, they're wonderful. My sister's here. I love my sister. They're wonderful people, just not how we grew up. Susan, my kids, helped me see it. What that really was with God putting in front of me what I needed to get closer to Him. And it's taken me 57 years to figure that out, 56 years to figure it out. But if this place wasn't here in 1903, 1974, 75, 2023, 2024, that's an amazing legacy this place has. I'll close with this. And this killed me, John, when you said this. When he asked me to speak for the kids, I was weepier than I am tonight, so thank you, God, for letting me get through this. When he introduced me, he said, I'm going to introduce you to this guy, Phil Long, whatever. They don't care who I am, right? He said, he's one of you. 57, 6 years old, it buckled me. Like I finally felt home here. That's all I got.